Hello, it's Thursday. I've had an idea stuck in my head for a while, and I'm still waiting for my data to be restored, which is just a whole other story. I thought this might be the week to try something new. So I went and got these. They are canvases, and there was like 4 of them for $5, so who can resist that kind of bargain? Does that mean we're painting this week? No! Recently I've been utterly bewitched by these like Lego floral wall installation type things, and I want to see if I can recreate them using crochet. So I guess this is the latest installment in my Will It Crochet series. I got these little canvases to sort of test it out, but I also got this big beautiful thing. This is like the big sister of the little ones, but you know me, if we end up loving this process, I'm also willing to go bigger, so keep that in mind. If it works, I do think that this might be a really cute little like Christmas or birthday gift idea. They're just these cute little canvases. So I think the first thing I'd better do is paint these canvases, and I'm going to paint them black. That way if any of the canvas is showing through the bits that I'm going to add to them, it's not going to be like visible on the final piece. If it's black, it'll just look like shadows. And I am prepping 3 of them, but we are only going to be making 1 today. Okay, so for today, I think I'm going to be focusing on succulents. So I've been looking at reference images a little bit like this. I love all like the different colors and shapes of succulents without having to deal with like how thin petals are. I do have some limitations with my materials regarding how like thick or thin things can be. And so I think succulents is going to allow me to play with colors and shapes without having to worry too much that my yarn is working up a little thick. I am going to pick colors from my color wall, just basking in the colors. So these are the colours that I've found. So we've got some greens into some like bluey greens like colours, and I want a little pop of purple, maybe a little pop of this beautiful pinky colour, a little bit of light yellow, you know, that sort of thing. And I am a little worried that DK is a little bit big for this job, particularly considering that these canvases are not that large, but we're just not going to really know until we try, so we're going to try. So while that paint dries, I do think we should be able to start planning what we want this to look like. And I do think that we're going to need like 1 big feature plant and then like some smaller plants to fill in the rest of the gaps. We don't want to like draw, like try and have too many stars of the show. So I think I'm going to get away with being able to do 2 kind of big rosettes in kind of 2 different color stories. I'm thinking very blue-green for one of them, and then one of them will have like little pink edges on it, or potentially one of them will just be straight purple, because they do come in all kinds of really cool different colors. I definitely want to do some like strings of those little green eggs, and sometimes they have little pink tips to them, but I don't know if we're going to go that far. And then on top of that, I also want to do some of these little tubes that I've seen, which are like very like bright yellow and bright green. I think that could add like a nice little pop of color in there. There's also like these little spiky ones as well that have like a darker green to them, which I don't have a darker green out here, but we could find a darker green. That's a notion. I think we can just like fill out a little box like this, and it looks really crowded in a little box like this, but this is, we have a square here that's to actual size. So I'm going to kind of try and like map out the actual sizes of some of these things and just make sure that I'm accounting for all of the gaps that need to be filled. Alright, so it is allowed to hang over the edge a little bit. I don't want to like make this a full-on illustration because I just don't have the skills for that. I'm just trying to give myself a really good feel for what this is going to be. There's our big one, and then we'll have like a smaller one down in this corner. Truly a work of art. We'll have some of those little like tubey ones I was talking about up here. So it'll be like blocked out and kind of like thinking this-ish sort of shape. One of those little spiky boys in here. And we definitely want at least 2 or 3 more of those little spiky ones. I don't have to really worry too much about gravity. I don't think anyway. Unlike with a real succulent, I don't have to worry about water. I don't have to worry about gravity. I don't have to worry about if I'm being mean to the plants. So I want to do like a bunch of those little green baubles. Just have them like overflowing slightly off to this side here. and filling up that whole swoosh. So we've got a lot of the canvas covered at this point. Now all of this has to be anchored to canvas, and it's just now occurring to me I haven't actually checked if I can sew through the canvas, so all of this might be nothing. Let me just grab a needle and check that. Hello, canvas. We're just going to do a little testy test on you. At the back, just in case it can't be done, and then I can use them for painting at least. Oh, nah, that's not going to be a problem. Don't get me wrong, it punches a decent sized hole. But as long as I'm careful, I don't think it'll be a huge deal. But yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy with the plan here. Now, I don't have markers or pencils with me that are the right color, but I do want to just mark out the main colors for things, because like I want to make sure that I know which plants I want to be the same and which plants I know should be different. These markers just gave up the ghost really quickly. These are new. Now I need something to fill this gap in the middle here. There's just a little bit left. We'll just fill it with more of whatever this purple ends up being. So yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so I think I am going to start with this main big succulent, just because I do think it's going to take up the majority of the space on the canvas. I think I'm going to go for something like this. See that big beautiful blue green one in the middle there? So that will wipe out about a third of this canvas really, really quickly. Now these little smaller purple ones might also end up being that kind of pinwheel shape, but again, just like same shapes in a different color. I'm thinking maybe really dark to like not pull focus, you know, like so we want to get some real tonal variation in there, and I think that it'll just be really good for morale, for me personally, if I can just work up a bunch of stuff and have it like very quickly start filling those spaces. We're going to start just working on some of these really big ones. Now I tossed up between working these as flat pieces or working them as double walled pieces, and honestly I'm still not super sure as to which one is the right answer. So we're just gonna like work through it and try a couple of things and find out. So while I thought originally I would make these leaves individually, it occurred to me that if I could make them all as part of one long chain, and then just like spiral them all up together, it'd make this whole process a lot easier and just a lot more like user friendly. So yeah, I'm gonna just give this one long strand thing a try, and then we can fill out like the back of it with the occasional leaf to add a little bit of variation. You don't want anything looking too regular, because then it doesn't look natural. So yeah, I think that's what the leaf is going to look like for this big one. It's already got like a slight curl to it, which is honestly great. And then I'm just going to do like a full strand of them. 5, maybe 6 petals around at about this size to make just like one big pinwheel type succulent. So that's our first goal. Alrighty, so with these first leaves made and looking quite pretty if I do say so myself, I think I just need to like knuckle down and start churning out a bunch of little shapes, churning out some pieces to build succulents out of, because a lot of them require just a lot of pieces. So realistically I was getting bored of that construction method, so I've decided that I'm going to swap and work on some yellow tubes for a little while. bunch of the tubes in yellow with the green base, and then a bunch with the green further up the stem, to just add a little bit of variation. I think the trick here is to not let myself get too bored with any one shape, but I'm actually having a lot of fun. My goal with this is just to like overwhelm with so many little details that it stops looking quite as like clunky and yarny and maybe starts to look cool. Now I want these strings to add a new texture to this piece because they're going to be like exploding and like draping over two of the edges of the canvas. Now I have a personal ick when it comes to the exposed chains of chain stitches. So I'm going to be trying to work any slip stitches here through both loops of the chain, which always just like really slows me down. It's super annoying, but it's worth it. So I'm going to work up a bunch of strands, and the really fun thing here is that when it's like you chain it and then you work back along it, but once you reach the starting point of your chain, you can just chain some more and start again. Okay, so as I've been working up these little pearls, I have noticed something, and that is, I've got a nice little bunch here, that is that while I've been slip stitching through both loops of the chain, I've only been working the clusters through one loop of the chain, and it's actually causing them to spiral in this kind of delightfully chaotic, natural way. So yeah, I'm learning things as we go. Then I started working up some dark green spikes. I feel like a lot of my colors are very pastel at the moment. I think some dark green will really help anchor some of these shapes. Plus, I wanted a really pointy shape in the midst of all of these like floppy tubes and balls. And I'm going to use a little bit of cream just to add some interesting white textury bits to them, which is going to take a lot longer. But I think it's those tiny details that are really going to sell this as a concept. Alright, so next I thought I would make some of the smaller pinwheels, and I ended up making this one. Which doesn't look like much, but when it's all like coiled up, it's going to form kind of a very nice little like flowery shape. And I think I'm going to have to make a base piece for it to sit on, but it's just made with like doubles, trebles and picots and some math, but we won't talk about that bit. I am really enjoying this process though. Just like the making of all of the little bits. You want to see all the little bits? You have already seen all the little bits, but look, here we go. We've got the start of our big flower. We've got some strings. We have some tubes. We have some spikes that I'm working on. And yeah, for anyone wondering, I am absolutely having flashbacks to the 100-piece challenge. And we have the big purple flower, which I honestly don't know at this point if it's going to sit like in the middle of that one there, or if it's going to be our secondary flower. I honestly planned it as the secondary flower, but I don't really know. So in the meantime, our canvas has dried, and I think I've only made enough stuff to cover about a quarter of it, so we really got to keep going. actually looking really good. I just sort of like piled everything on all on like on top of one another, and it's looking really good. I think I'm going to finally get back to working on our main floret. I think it needs another round of petals that are like bigger than this. And I also think it needs, obviously, the smaller petals in the middle. It easily could have been made as one piece, but I hadn't quite worked out my technique yet. Now I know it. I would know for next time. I can't believe how much I like it already. I think when I get the major floret finished, I think we're about halfway through all of the pieces that we're going to need. I know I need a bunch more of these little guys, which might be one of my favorite pieces so far. And I still don't have a solution for all of these ones here, because that's what I thought this was going to be, and it turns out that's going to be my bigger floret. So, yeah, I need to resolve what these are. Maybe they're just like some really tiny little somethings. Maybe I could even represent them just with little balls or something, like texturally different. But yeah, we're gonna do some more work on our big floret now, I think. One thing that's really nice about these leaves is if I do make a mistake or miss a row or skip a stitch, you can just put it down to like natural leaf variation. Also, it kind of makes this a lot easier. Like, you skip a stitch on a blanket, it's going to bug you for years. I've made one of these leaves one row shorter than the others, and it's just going to look like I did it on purpose. We're going to call it artistry. Okay, so here are all of the pieces, just gather them all up, that we need to fill our canvas. Now, I did have a second attempt at the little string of pearls that I was trying to do, but I don't think I like it all drawn out like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it looks closer to what it's supposed to be, but I think these fill the space in just better. So I'm not going to like discard these or anything like that, but I don't know if they've necessarily got an application immediately. They might be used to fill some spaces. I made a couple of these little things, which just sort of like look sort of like little cluster succulents, and we made a whole bunch of these just to represent some tiny baby little succulents as well. But other than that, I think you saw me make all of the pieces. So we've got all of those, and we have, of course, the pieces for our big flower. Now, for anybody interested, yes, I am in fact having flashbacks to the 100-piece challenge that I did with Skein Spider, what, about a year ago now? But this is in fact only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 41, 42, 43, 44 pieces. So not even in the same league. That said, I keep having to like crouch down to get into frame. Hi. That said, I think my favorite of the ones that we can see here have to be these little stripy guys, and which I think are called zebra cacti, or zebra cactuses, and it's no surprise that I love them because I have at least one of them on my balcony. But I also think that I might like it just because that little bit of extra embroidery detail on there is kind of transforming it a little bit. It means that when I see it, I don't immediately just see a crochet piece, I'm seeing something that's actually something, you know? So I think I might need to spruce some of these others up a little bit, or like succulent them up a bit. Spruce isn't really what we're going for here, but particularly I'm looking at like our big main floret. I think could do with a couple of details on each of these leaves just to like pull them together. I don't really know how I would do much to this particular one or any of those ones there, but like at least this big one I think could use some loving, and I think I might be able to help these little tubes, which are supposed to be Crassula ovata, I think is their name, also known as Gollum, I think. I think I might be able to help them look a little bit more like what they're supposed to be with some of this. So we're going to just embroider some details onto some of these pieces. Okay, so we have all of our little tubies done here. Look at my tubes! All that's left is these big petals, and I think I'm going to take some of the cream. Yeah, we're going to take some of our cream, and I think I'm just going to work some like little starbursty type stuff at the base of each one, just to kind of look a little bit veiny. And then when they're all layered up, most of it will be covered, but I think it's going to add just a little something. Sorry, I'm sick of trying to cram myself into frame. But I do like what's happening. I like what's happening here. I think part of it is just that I really like the colours that I'm using. So it almost doesn't even matter if it just turns out as like abstract art. It's just a fun little coloured square. But yeah, we're just going to work on these big petals now. You just got to trust the process. I swear this is looking exactly the way we want it to. So there we have the large floral. I love how those little cream bits worked out. I don't know if I'm going to put a little bit extra purple in the middle, but I kind of like it the way it is at the moment. Added all the little stripies. We've done some little loops. I think it looks fine for now. It's not my favourite, but I think it'll look better when it's all together. So with all of these pieces done, I think the time has come for me to actually just start assembling it. I'm a little nervous about that, because I intend to like sew it to the canvas. And I was going to use yarn for that, and I still plan on using yarn for that, but we may abandon that plan at a certain point. I don't know how it's all going to go. But it's like wood framed, so I feel like it should be able to support the weight. Yeah. I do think a few more of these pieces, particularly like things like this, could have been built all in one piece or on a base piece, which would have made the assembly part of this significantly easier. If I was going to try and turn this into a pattern, I would definitely be anchoring things down to base pieces. But we're just sort of feeling our way forward, and I think that experimentation is a big part of the creative process, at least for me, and so I'm really pleased with how things are turning out. But anyway, so we're going to start trying to actually attach things to the canvas now. Cross your fingers for me, I'm actually a little bit nervous about this. I don't know how to pin these in place. Didn't really think that through. Just trying to use a pin to mark it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but we've got some pin marks here that's going to help guide me a little bit. Ooh, it could be really fun to do like a mandala or a Zentangle, or just like embroider the canvas itself. People have almost definitely done that before, but I could have a go. Ha-ha! So I marked the middle of each leaf. Careful, careful. Yeah, that's pretty well anchored. That's what it looks like underneath. I think it's going to come out looking kind of cool. So then all of this would obviously go there. We'll put that to one side. So what's next? We have this thing that goes down here, but I think I need to sew that to this first. okay, but the sound it makes and like the feel as it punches through the canvas is actually super satisfying. I had my extra strand attached to the back and I've just sewn it in place as I sewed the next layer on. So I guess that strand is completely cooked. Yeah, trim it off and call it done, I guess. Oh well. That. And there we have our finished succulent wall art, I guess you could call it, our little three-dimensional piece. And now I'm not saying I don't like the finished piece, because I do. I think it's quite pretty, but more than that, I really enjoyed the process of making this. Like, it was therapeutic on an entirely different level for me. So you let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing me have another go at some of the other canvases, because I have I've got 3 more at this size and I've got one that's a bit bigger, or if I should just put this in my like hobby bucket and I won't subject you guys to more of it. I have plans to do like some giant flowers on one of them and maybe some daisies on another, but yeah, you let me know what you think. All right, so I gotta find somewhere to hang this. Okay, bye. We're fine. We're good and fine and good and fine and great. Does that mean we're painting this week? Wait. Does that mean we're painting this week? I probably won't use that. Yeah, I'm showing my microphone for some reason. My apologies to my future self for filming this so out of order, but we're doing what we can. Hello. Where's my needle? I have a blue plastic one here somewhere that's perfect for this sort of work, but if I can't find it, that's going to be a problem. There it is. The hardest working tortoise had it, everybody. Trust the process, okay? Well, you weren't recording the whole time. Dang it, I didn't have the microphone on. Hang on. Which might seem a little counterintuitive, but we are getting in frame. But, finally a throne worthy of the hardest working tortoise. Oh, sorry, bud. Oh, ow. And again, back to back, I've never paid as much of a blood sacrifice as I've paid on this piece. I didn't even know that my calluses could bleed anymore, but I was wrong. Do you guys want to see my shame? It got completely out of control back there. No one's going to see that anyway, so it doesn't matter.